Have you ever wondered how entire TV programmes, once adored across Britain, simply disappeared into thin air? And what does it say about our telly history when whole series have slipped away, leaving only whispers and yellowing Radio Times clippings behind? From quirky comedies in smoky BBC studios to black and white dramas aired before the watershed, some shows from the swinging 60s have vanished entirely, wiped, misplaced or forgotten, as if they never existed at all. It is strange to imagine a programme viewed by over 3/4 of the nation simply vanishing from public sight. Yet that is the peculiar fate of the 1969 Royal Family documentary. When it first aired, families crowded around living room sets to see the House of Windsor in an intimate manner never before permitted. Viewers saw the Queen chatting over breakfast, Prince Philip at the barbecue, and the young royals at work and play. It was a bold attempt to show modern monarchy in a modern Britain, still dusting itself off after the 1960s cultural shake-up. But soon, that openness became the Crown's greatest regret. The documentary was quietly withdrawn at Buckingham Palace's request and has barely been seen since the early 70s. Reports suggested it diminished the mystique of royalty, revealing them as ordinary rather than symbolic and remote. While recordings were preserved in official archives, access has remained tightly controlled. Rumours persist of bootleg copies, yet they never surface outside whispers and the occasional blurry still. Today, the film sits in a kind of cultural limbo. It exists but cannot be freely watched, making it feel more vanished than many shows that were simply wiped. Its absence has given it a mythical aura, sparking endless curiosity about what the cameras captured behind palace walls. Every once in a while, tiny snippets reappear in new productions, teasing the public all over again. In a landscape where so much television has been truly lost, the Royal Family documentary is its own category. It is not missing, but withheld, as though the nation briefly glimpsed a secret it was never meant to keep. Few British sitcoms are as beloved as Dad's Army, though younger fans are often surprised to learn that parts of its earliest history have disappeared. When the show debuted in the late 1960s, it was recorded on videotape that broadcasters considered reusable. At the time, archiving was hardly a priority, and no one imagined that a gentle comedy about the Home Guard would become a national treasure. The warmth of Captain Mainwaring, Wilson, Pike and Company turned the series into essential viewing. Unfortunately, several early episodes were wiped, leaving gaps that have never been filled despite repeated searches. The missing installments from the second series are particularly mourned, as they helped shape the rhythms and character relationships that later episodes made famous. Scripts, production notes, and audio recordings survive, but the moving images themselves are largely gone. Occasionally, fragments reappear from private collectors, yet the complete episodes remain stubbornly elusive. For fans, this absence adds a peculiar melancholy to an otherwise cheerful show. Even so, Dad's Army remains one of the best-loved pieces of British television, rerun endlessly and quoted across generations. That such an iconic series suffered the same careless disposal as lesser-known programmes speaks volumes about broadcasting practices of the era. The surviving episodes show why the loss still stings. They are warm, witty, and deeply British, celebrating resilience through humour. Because of that, the missing episodes feel like pages torn from a national diary. Their disappearance is a reminder that television heritage is fragile, and appreciation sometimes comes too late. Long before globalisation became fashionable, there was Cathy Come Home, a little-known travel drama that managed to disappear almost entirely. Produced in the early 1960s, it followed a British protagonist journeying across Asia, blending cultural encounters with fictional storytelling. The premise was ambitious for the era, reflecting a nation freshly aware of the wider world. Much like many experimental programs, it aired quietly, gathered a modest audience, and then faded. Today, the series is effectively gone. No complete episodes are confirmed to survive, and only scant production notes and a handful of still photographs have been documented. Its unusual setting, once its biggest selling point, may have worked against its preservation. Without an obvious rerun market or overseas resale value, it simply slipped through the cracks. The missing material means modern audiences can only imagine what made the series distinctive. Was it earnest, adventurous, perhaps unintentionally dated? With nothing to watch, speculation is all we have. The disappearance of Cathy Come Home is emblematic of the era's cavalier approach to archiving. Programs deemed one and done or too niche were often erased without hesitation. Yet its absence creates a sense of romance around its name, a show with a sweeping premise lost to time. Even minor series can reflect the cultural currents of their moment, and this one must have carried the early curiosity of a post-Empire Britain discovering the world anew. Though we may never see it again, its vanishing reminds us how quickly stories can be forgotten if no one decides they are worth keeping. The Mask of Janus arrived during a period when British audiences were obsessed with espionage. The Cold War shaped newspaper headlines, and television followed suit. Set in a fictional Balkan nation, the series leaned into intrigue, double agents, and political tensions. It offered darker tones than its flashier counterparts, giving viewers a serious look at international gamesmanship. Though modestly received, it stood out for its sharp writing and realistic mood. Despite its strengths, a significant portion of the programme has vanished. Many episodes are missing from archives, leaving the narrative incomplete and the characters half-remembered. Production materials indicate entire plot lines now lost, with only a small selection of installments believed to survive. The disappearance likely stems from routine tape wiping, a common cost-cutting practice of the era. This has left historians reliant on scripts, surviving stills, and scattered recollections to reconstruct the show's original shape. The partial survival creates a patchwork legacy rather than a full portrait. The loss is particularly disappointing because The Mask of Janus seeded the spin-off series quick before They Catch Us, which carried forward its more dynamic ideas. Had more episodes survived, modern viewers could trace that creative evolution. Instead, it sits among the many 1960s dramas consigned to half-memory. Television scholars sometimes reference it as an example of what British drama could achieve when it aimed for nuance rather than spectacle. That only deepens the frustration. A thoughtful spy drama with genuine promise should be remembered on its own merits. Yet its missing pieces prevent us from seeing the complete picture. It might feel odd to include Thunderbirds on any list of vanished programmes, because its heroic rescues and marionette charm remain icons of British pop culture. The show is widely available today, from DVDs to restored broadcasts. But the truth is more complicated. Although the original series still exists, material surrounding it has not fully survived. Production footage, untransmitted elements, and supporting broadcasts have been lost, leaving small gaps in an otherwise well-kept legacy. Some early prints and behind-the-scenes recordings were disposed of as merely functional, never intended to be preserved for historical value. This was typical for the era when filming extras and limited-use recordings were often treated as clutter. A few promotional recordings have resurfaced over time, revealing fragments of what once accompanied the main series. Fans and researchers believe there may still be forgotten reels tucked away in private hands. The survival of the episodes themselves has made these losses easier to overlook, though they still represent missing chapters of television craft. Even with these gaps, Thunderbirds stands as one of Britain's most successful exports. Its pioneering miniature work, bold futurism, and sincere storytelling captured imaginations worldwide. The partial disappearances remind us how lucky we are to have the majority intact. many of its contemporaries were wiped entirely, leaving far greater holes in the cultural record. Thunderbirds, by contrast, managed to retain its place on toy shelves, lunchboxes, and late-night reruns. That resilience makes the missing pieces all the more intriguing. They hint at an unseen workshop of creativity lying just beyond our reach, quietly lost in the shadows of international rescue. Let's talk about the one that turned Thursday evenings on the BBC into pop culture ritual, Top of the Pops. Debuting in January 1964, the show became the weekly must-see for chart toppers and teenagers alike, a live or semi-live countdown of Britain's single sales scene. It showcased major acts, dancing troupes and presenter links, capturing the rhythm of the swinging 60s. Despite its iconic status, a vast number of early episodes are missing. Archive sources show that the vast majority of the episodes from the programme's history prior to 1976 are considered lost media. For many years, the BBC did not preserve the tapes or telerecordings in full, and as a result, fewer than 20 complete recordings from 1964 to 1973 are known to survive. The oldest complete episode in the BBC archive dates from Boxing Day 1967. So why does this matter? Because Top of the Pops was cultural lightning as it gave television to a generation of music fans. Yet its early archive is patchy, which means big chunks of the soundtrack of 1960s youth have simply vanished. From historic performances to presenter choreography, the missing episodes mean we have an incomplete picture of how music and TV interlocked in that era. Its loss underlines how even hugely popular programmes weren't safe from the wiping policies of early British broadcasting. Switching gears to something far more obscure, which was Madhouse on Castle Street, a 1963 BBC television play featuring the young folk singer Bob Dylan. The production was broadcast on 13 January 1963, mixing folk music, surreal drama, and boarding house intrigue. It remains of interest largely because Dylan appears in it before his major fame, and the sheer fact that the play has vanished almost entirely. No full copy of Madhouse on Castle Street is known to exist. The BBC officially junked the master in 1968, and exhaustive searches have failed to trace any surviving film or tape. A few off-air audio recordings of 4 songs performed by Dylan survive, and some still photographs and production materials remain, but the dramatic content itself is lost. Considering it starred a figure who went on to profound fame, the loss is particularly striking. In terms of cultural memory, this play is a ghost, referenced in books, talked about by fans but unseen. It illustrates how the sweeping wiping and junking policies of the BBC in the 1960s could erase even a one-off special that in retrospect has high value. The vanishing of Madhouse on Castle Street reminds us that television preservation was not guaranteed, no matter how interesting the material seemed at the time. Here's a heavyweight from the early 60s drama stable, Z-Cars, the gritty BBC police series set in a fictional Lancashire town. It premiered in January 1962 and ran through to 1978, producing a hefty 801 episodes. The show was a benchmark in British television drama, moving away from cosy studio-bound fare to something more urgent and realistic. And yet approximately 462 episodes are missing from the BBC archive, leaving fewer than half the total run in surviving form. The archive status is especially poor for the run between 1967 to 71, where a large block of episodes simply do not exist. The BBC's treasure hunt list includes Z-Cars among the programmes for which missing episode recovery is still sought. The use of live broadcasts, early videotape reuse, and telerecording inefficiencies all contributed to the loss. For a show that captured British policing, social change, and regional life, having large chunks missing means our understanding is skewed. We can watch selected episodes, yes, but the full arc, the character development, the shifts in style through the 60s is broken. Z-Cars is a prime example of how even major drama series from the BBC's early archives bear heavy scars of loss. Let's venture into soap territory, United, a BBC series that ran from October 1965 to March 1967, revolving around a fictional second division football club, Brentwich United. The premise combines sport, working-class life, and serialised drama, potentially a promising mix for mid-60s viewers. However, the entire series, all 147 episodes, is believed to have been wiped. According to multiple sources, no episodes are known to survive. Newspaper articles and lost media communities describe the show as the BBC decided to wipe the master tapes for all episodes of the series. None survive. Without overseas distribution copies or archived prints, the series simply disappeared. United demonstrates how even full series with hundreds of episodes were vulnerable. Although perhaps not considered top-tier prestige at the time, the show remains of interest for historians of sport, class, and television. Its complete loss means that an entire era of serialised BBC football drama is gone from the moving image record. That emptiness itself becomes part of television history. Lastly, we arrive at the one everyone knows, Coronation Street, the long-running ITV soap that began on the 9th of December 1960. It follows life on Weatherfield's cobbled terraces, ordinary people, big emotions, domestic drama, and has become a British institution. Interestingly though, while Coronation Street is safe compared to many 1960s shows, its early years still faced archival risk. One episode, number 1202 from 1972, is officially missing. According to some sources, many of the 1960s episodes were preserved thanks to international distribution, but the archive status remains patchy for pre-1969 times. So rather than being vanished, Coronation Street is more correctly bulk survived with some losses. Why place it at number 1? Because even though the show largely survived, its near-miss survival makes it a special case. It serves as a contrast. Whereas many other programmes disappeared entirely, Corrie managed to hang on. But the fact there were gaps reminds us how fragile television heritage remains. Its endurance is remarkable, but the early archive still has shadows. And that wraps up our journey through the telly treasures Britain somehow let slip through its fingers. If any of these lost gems sparked a memory of evenings huddled round the old set or stories passed down from parents and grandparents, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more cosy dives into Britain's bygone screens. See you in the next one.